We picked up a group of video discs from a local antique mall for $31.80. We're going to clean them and flip them. Will we make a profit, break even, or go in the hole? Stay tuned to find out in this episode of Flippin' Ain't Easy. Alright you guys, so you've seen the intro, you know what we're talking about here. We've got a set of video discs that we picked up at a local antique mall for $31.80. That was for this stack here. We'll go through each one of them individually here in a moment. I don't know if I spent too much money or not. I had never heard of these before. When I bought them, I looked them up on eBay afterwards and they don't go for much, so I may have spent too much money, but I thought it's interesting enough. I'd never heard of them. Maybe you have, maybe you haven't, but in this case, these are a form of video media. Inside of this case here, this is a plastic case, and inside you've got a record, essentially like an LP, but it's made to also have an image that'll output to your TV. The player itself is large, kind of like a Laserdisc player, and what you do is you push this end here into the player, and the player will automatically pull out the disc or the record, and then you pull this whole thing back out without having to touch the record. I think it's great because it keeps you from worrying about damaging anything. Now there were a number of these at the antique mall. I just picked up the titles that I thought were the most interesting and that I may be able to make my money back on. Again, we'll see what happens with that. But this is what they look like. It's similar to what the front of an LP would look like, a 12-inch LP. But this is plastic. You'll notice the edges are rounded down here. I don't know what the ideal is of that. The top here is flat. And if you look in the end here, there's little levers in here, and I'll show you in a moment once we go through these. If you pull these prongs, you can pull it out and actually take a look and see what this thing looks like inside. It's pretty neat. And I did a little research on this after I bought them because, again, I've never actually heard of these before. So what I did was I looked it up and I found out that RCA here was developing this for many years, this media format. And what had happened was it took them so long to develop it that by that time, whenever they released it, VHS had already taken off and it didn't really make much sense. So I'm not sure how many years they made these. If you look on eBay, you'll find a number of titles, and it's not only mainstream movies. There's some smaller production ones as well that they made these for, but there's a number of them out there. I think this is more of a novelty item for somebody. If they're, for instance, if somebody was interested in Chuck Norris, David Carradine, or Lone Wolf McQuade, then maybe they would want this one to keep. Trying to play something like this, I looked online and the players for them are very expensive if you can find one working. So I didn't want to mess with that. And maybe somebody else would and want to try it out. But again, I think this is mainly just for a collector that wants to get a title that they like for whatever reason. But again, RCA had been working on these for so many years that it just kind of phased itself out. And the original idea was that RCA wanted to make an affordable home video option for consumers to be able to purchase. But it just took them too long. And that's what we've got here, this video disc. And again, they made them for multiple titles. And essentially what you'll do is, again, you just insert this into the player, pull it out, and it'll leave the disc inside. When that side is done, because again, you've got two sides here, you put this cartridge back in, it'll insert it in, you pull it out, you flip it over, and then you insert it back in and go through that process. So it's very interesting to me. Now, one thing I do like about this is just this holder here, this plastic holder. I think, well, I'm surprised that over the years nobody has done something like this for record LPs. Now, it is plastic, and some people aren't big on making anything out of plastic because of the recycling and all that, but it's very rugged, and I could easily see making something like this for LP storage that would just clip on the end. You could take it out, play it and then put it back in here to keep it from getting dust and dirt and everything else on it, and keep it from getting scratched, because obviously this isn't paper or cardboard like a traditional LP, and it's very durable. So again, this is pretty interesting, and I don't know, maybe you'll find it interesting too. But let's take a look at what all we got. So first up here we got Lone Wolf McQuade, Chuck Norris movie. If you're familiar with Chuck Norris, I'm sure you've heard of this movie, but again, I picked it up because I knew what it was, and I thought, okay, maybe somebody would be interested in this one. So this is Lone Wolf McQuade. All right, next up here, we've got Fast Times at Ridgemont High. So anyone that grew up in the 80s is definitely familiar with this. It's a funny movie. There's the front. Here's the back. I like the artwork style, since you've got this, again, it's kind of like an LP, where you've got all this. I could see maybe having some type of a way to display these on a wall or something. If it's a movie that you really like, that'd be pretty neat. So Fast Times at Ridgemont High. Next we got Cheech and Chong's Nice Dreams. There's the front. Here's the back. Next we've got 48 Hours. It's a good movie. Here's the front. In the back. Callahan here. Next up we got Sudden Impact. It's the front, and here's the back. Next we got Risky Business. This is the front, and here is the back. We got Al Pacino in Scarface. Here's the front and the back. Next up we got Blame It on Rio. Here's the front and the back. Next we got Tank. This is the front and the back. And then these two last ones are the same. It's two copies of Apocalypse Now. That's what the front looks like. And the back. So that means in total we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11 of these movies. So I don't know if we did okay or not on the price, but it's not a big deal. I think we should at least be able to break even, but we're going to clean them up. They're pretty filthy. Let's go over them and clean them as good as we can. And then I'm going to take the discs out and wipe them down, try to get them clean as well. And then we will put these on eBay and see what they do. And right now what I'm going to do is actually show you what this looks like inside in case you've never seen it. All right, so we've got the end opened up here. And I'm just going to slide it out on here so you can see. But again, similar to a record, but it's shiny, kind of like a CD. It's interesting, it's different. But I could have seen them, again, making a case like this for records to be able to put in and have your artwork on the front. I think that would be very cool. The only problem would be, again, that these are plastic, but I think that would have been a neat way to storage LPs to keep them from getting damaged. But this is what these look like. And now what we're going to do is we are going to, again, we're going to go through, clean everything up, throw it on eBay, and see if we can make our money back. So stay tuned. All right, you guys, so we're going to clean these up. I stated that I was going to clean the disc inside, but I've changed my mind. I've did a little bit of research, and supposedly you can run the disc under a faucet and then rinse that off with distilled water and then let it air dry. But I really don't want a chance scratching these up. I don't even know if they work anyway, but I'm just going to leave it alone. Instead, I'll take everything apart, just clean up the cases really well, and then we'll throw them on eBay. But I'm not going to mess with the disc itself. If somebody else wants to, after they get it, they can take that adventure, and hopefully it works out good for them. So you've seen us review everything and then clean the discs the best that we could. Now let's see how we did on eBay. Tank sold on eBay for $18.50. After you subtract transaction fees of $3.07 and the shipping label of $4.67, we made $10.76 from Tank on eBay. We had all of the other video discs listed separately on eBay, but unfortunately they were on there for about 2 months and nobody offered us anything or bid. So I decided to throw everything on as a bundle and try to get as much money as we could that way. The video disc bundle sold on eBay for $37.45. After you subtract sales tax of $2.45, transaction fees of $5.90, and the shipping label of $16.24, we made $12.86 for the remainder of the video discs. Taking into consideration the $12.86 and the $10.76 that we made from both auctions, that brings our overall eBay total to $23.62. Once we take the $23.62 that we made off of everything from eBay and we subtract our initial investment of $31.80, that means that we're in the hole $8.18. Alright everyone, you've seen how we just did on the Antique Mall video discs. Unfortunately for us on this one, we went into the hole. The reality is, I didn't know really anything about these before, and I probably shouldn't have spent what I did, but whatever. We learned a lesson from this. What I would recommend is if you're interested in these for yourself, then whatever. You know, collecting them from your favorite movies or whatever for the nostalgia, that's fine. If you're planning on flipping them, then I wouldn't spend any more than $1 to $2 a piece on these. Because the reality is, once you throw it on eBay, you're going to have to pay them fees, and you're not really going to make anything. And that's the case here. But oh well, we got to see something new, it was something interesting to us, and then go from there. And maybe give some advice to somebody wanting to do the same thing. We really appreciate you guys tuning in, and until next time, keep gaming.